Come on in, Adam.
All right. I get the couch?
You get the couch.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I didn't know if I needed to bring my ID, so I just brought my.
Right now, we're just gonna start with the interview. Obviously, this is a voluntary interview by you, and
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, no problem.
We're just gonna cover
last night.
What's that?
I appreciate all your help last night.
Absolutely. So we're just going to start off with just getting the getting to know Adam type stuff here.
Sure.
Adam, what is your middle name?
Michael. Common spelling.
It's VEN.
DETTI.
All right, sir. And what's your date of birth? And technically, no one has your cell phone, so we don't have to worry about that. And
Probably the only 732 number you'll come in contact with.
New Jersey, right? Is that it? Yeah. Okay. So let's get some of your background stuff. So you started working for Overland Park Police Department. Just give us your background on working there and all that.
Okay. I transferred from my old PD to Overland Park in 2015.
So 2015, was it a lateral transfer?
Yes.
From what agency?
Middletown Township Police Department. Middletown is one word. And then it's township after that.
What state?
New Jersey.
Okay. How long did you work at Middletown?
13 years.
Wow. Okay. So you did a lateral transfer 2015. What was your assignment with Overland Park PD?
I'm patrol officer.
Okay.
In Area 3 on evening shift.
Evening shift.
Yes, sir.
And but I know what evening shift is. He knows what evening shift is. What is your hours at Overland Park?
2:30 to 10:30.
Okay.
That's my team.
And that's the shift you were working yesterday?
Correct.
Okay. And your area of assignment yesterday was?
It's Area 3, District 233.
Okay. So your unit yesterday was 233?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the boundaries for that area?
From approximately, it's 123rd Street from Antioch to Flum down to 143rd. So there's a little bit of a scalloping up on the 120s area. 232 digs into that a little bit. So I'm kind of like an L, but for the most part it's 123rd from the Olathe border to Antioch, from like Flum to Antioch, 123 to 143.
That's a pretty good size area.
Yeah.
And how many units are in that area that you're assigned?
I'm the only 233.
Okay, but I mean, Area 3, is that...
Area 3 we have 31, 32, 33, 34, and currently we have an extra officer. Newland is 237. He's a floater.
Okay.
The rate they keep building, we're going to need more people down south.
It's getting big down south. So run us through, you came off shift 14:30 to 22:30.
Yes.
How much sleep did you get before the start of your shift?
How much sleep?
Yeah.
Being a weekend, my wife's home, a good 7+ hours.
Okay.
Kids are pretty, thank God. My son just wakes up in the morning and does his routine.
How old are your kids?
I have a 15-month-old daughter and a 6-year-old son.
How much sleep did you get prior to this interview? You got off shift, I know it was late. How much sleep did you get before this interview today?
8+. My wife took care of me.
Okay. So give us a run through of the day for the incident. Just give us a run through of what happened.
Okay. As I stated, I'm Area 233. I was conducting just area checks in my district up by Blue Valley Northwest construction sites. I was in the cul-de-sac right off of 133rd Street. When I heard the initial call go out, they toned out 234, which is Jennison, and 237, which is Newland, which is common. If the floater happens to be closer to the priority call, they'll dispatch that. Otherwise, since I'm the bordering district, they'll send me. So quite frequently, I'm sure it's the same way with you guys, a sister district that'll be your backing officer. So 34 comes to 33 for back, I go to 34, so we all just try to cover for each other, when we have to. The call came out, clearly it's a interesting call, so I hit their call notes and looked at that, and I read it, and I saw the name, and it took a moment to process, and that's when I keyed up that, 233 put me on that call. I'm familiar with the kid, I think is what I said. And then I made my way towards that call. I've had interaction with John in the past. We had him on a domestic battery not too long ago that I was on. He finished up classes for the year, went out celebrating, drank a bottle of vodka, came home, his parents confronted him about it. He battered his and then when Officer Wagner, I think, was the primary, he got there first. He took off on Wagner, and that's how I knew he likes to run into that opposite street, which is why I was coming from that direction. Wagner had him at taser point on a red dot, didn't deploy the taser, but had it out on him, and the kid was like, well, if you take me to Marillac, I won't fight you. And we're like, okay, you're going to Marillac then. Simple. So I kind of knew, again, and for the several hours after that of dealing with him, I kind of had an idea of how I could maybe best, interact with him, So we put him on PBT, and he was a 175, so he drank a lot of vodka. Kept bragging to us about how much he's a wrestler and how he could get past us and get out of his cuffs and everything. So he has a little bit of a, defiance thing. But we were going to take him to Marillac. Marillac said if he's that intoxicated, we want a full tox screen to make sure that's it. So then we had to bring him to St. Luke's South, where we'd had to do a full blood draw and everything like that, or a urine test. And at that point in time, this is hours later, his dad finally came, and they were just so slow that we released him to his father, who declined to press charges and cleared it through command, and they were like, okay. And so that was that. But during that time, I was able to talk with him a little bit. You're there for hours, so that's why I put myself on the call, same as I dealt with him before and kind of knew his mindset a little bit. Maybe I could help resolve it.
When was that call?
Oh, at least a month and a half ago, I want to say. And then
So fairly recent.
Fairly recently for me to clearly remember this kid. And then we had a deal with him maybe a week after that where same thing, he stole the parents' car and tore out of the house. He was a juvenile runaway endangered because he has mental health issues, and ditched the car. They found it up in KCK or something like that, and then he was in the wind, and it took them a while to find him. So it was a slow progression that kind of seemed to have ramped up with his issues and stuff. So I was like, well.
Okay. Going back to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip around, but
Gotcha.
I want to cover one thing with you on your starting with Overland Park.
Yeah.
Training, any special training you received from Overland Park?
Yeah, I'm a CIT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any other extra duties besides just the data?
I'm an evidence technician.
Okay.
I'm a mentor.
What does that mean?
When we get new recruits, they'll assign a mentor to one to kind of just be like a big brother, where if they don't feel comfortable talking to their FTO or chain of command, they can just call us, and there's no recording, there's nothing on the record. It's just one dude talking to another dude about some anxiety issues or questions about something that he doesn't want to bring to the, so we're kind of confidants, and everything that we say is just kind of, it's not the peer support role, that's separate.
Right.
Just mentor is just something that, hey, if you ever need anything, here's my cell phone. If you want to talk, you got questions, if you're upset about something, you don't want to know who else to talk to, you give us a call. So, and I've always kind of had that role, even non-officially. It's just,
Is that actually something that Overland Park does, or is this something you do on your own? So,
no, the mentoring program is an official thing.
Your agency doesn't?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Johnson actually got it instituted, I think, in 16 or 17. So it's
okay.
it's good.
So again, back So you are responding to the scene. Give us a run through. You said you went that specific location because about a month and a half ago, when he was involved in a domestic with his, the direction that he took on foot.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you continue. You responding. So go ahead and continue on with your response to the scene.
Okay. While I'm en route, I pull up the map, and we can see where the other units are. So I observed that the other 2 patrol cars were already on the England side of that block. Mm-hmm. So I knew vaguely like where they were. So I cut my siren, made my way through 149 Terrace, and basically like as soon as I hit that intersection where Hayes is, and that's when I immediately see Jennison, and he's in the driveway. I had tunnel vision at that point because I'm keyed up, and then I saw the garage door was open, and I see Jennison assuming a shooting stance. So I don't know what's going on. At first, if he had made radio traffic, I did not hear it, just between the siren and my own kind of tunneling of that. So again, like I said, I didn't know if John was there standing with the knife in some sort of posture. I had no idea what was going on inside the garage because my angle wasn't good enough. All I could see was Jennison in the driveway.
Okay.
And then I just saw the silver van just come out. Couldn't tell the angle of how Jennison was positioned in reference to the vehicle. I didn't know if he was right behind it or off to the side, so I don't know what he perceived. All I saw was that the van came out, and then like within seconds, the first couple of shots, you hear me go, "What the fuck?" And I just slammed my car, and I lurched forward, and I jump out, and then I see the van. That's when he spun around and then started, and then there were more shots. I jumped out of the way thinking like, holy shit, I'm going to get shot at. And then I could just see. And at that point, I'm just yelling, stop, stop.
Did you jump out of the way because your perception of you were in the line of fire, or did you jump out of the way because things were coming at you?
I just, kind of probably just a combination of both. You know, you're trying to get spatial awareness, and, you know, there's clearly something going sideways right now, and I don't know if John had any guns. I didn't know if he was firing back. At that point, it was just pure reflex. I'm just kind of jump out of the way of anything.
Right.
And then the van started rolling towards me, and that's when he see me like, just stop, John, stop, and you know, and just run up, just trying to do whatever.
Okay, well, and again, we're going to be detailed on the interview, so you say do whatever. What is do whatever that you're talking about?
Just get to the vehicle. I mean, clearly we had shots fired, so this is not a normal response. My main thing was I saw the truck going towards the house, and that's, you hear me asking, Jason, is Goddard, like, are we in park? Are we in park? And then, you know, I'm kind of like, there's blood everywhere, and the kids, you know, I'm like standing like right at him, and I got my hands up on him, you know, trying to just check for, I mean, I knew he was going, but,
What part of the vehicle did you go to?
driver's side.
Driver's side. Okay.
Yeah, the window was blown out. John was slumped forward. There was just blood everywhere. I saw visible GSWs on his upper torso. There was a lot of blood in his midsection. That's indicative of the reports that we said that we received from him stabbing himself. So I don't know what else would have been a result of the gunshots.
If you're seeing these wounds, how was he attired? But you were able to see these wounds.
He was bare-chested. He had no shirt.
Okay.
And I honestly couldn't. I think he was wearing maybe gray sweats, perhaps. I don't remember exactly. To be quite honest, I didn't even focus on that because my you know, it was his torso that was hit. Blood was coming from his face. I saw a chunk taken out of his shoulder. He was done. I couldn't get. I checked for carotid, but I couldn't.
Okay, so you checked for carotid. Is that what you? That's what you said.
Yeah. Once that was going on, I mean, I was like glove up, and we threw our gloves on, and you know, even if you think you got to check, you got to try to do something to help this kid. And I know I got on the radio. it kind of happened so fast, and you're trying to multitask. Like, you got the officer safety aspect, and then you got hit John's welfare, and then I have a vehicle in motion that's inching towards the house, and I'm like, you're trying to condense it all and make sure that this thing doesn't, like, what if he spasmed and that car shot off and ran me over or smacked into the house? We don't know anything at this time, so we're just trying to do as much round robin as possible.
So
and at that point in time, I saw Goddard just appear. I mean, I didn't even, like I said, all I was Jennison. I didn't see anyone else until Sergeant Goddard was like literally right there, and and that's when I said Jason.
Where was he at, Goddard?
Well, without referencing the video, because I had no idea, he had immediately just, when the vehicle came to the stop, he appeared at the passenger side front window.
Okay.
I don't even remember him getting on scene. It looks like that he pulled up like right after the second round of shots, and I'm tracking the vehicle, and it looked like he pulled up and then came to a stop in the driveway. So I didn't even see him because I'm like tunnel vision at that point in time. Okay. So he came to the passenger side front window, and that's when I asked him, like, are we in park, or are we stopped, or are we in park? And then
How did the van come to a stop?
I can only assume that John's foot came off the accelerator after he died.
Okay. Do you remember, so you're at the driver's side, Goddard's at the passenger side. Do you know what he did, or did he enter the vehicle? Did he do anything to the gear shifts or anything like that? Because you're talking about, are we in park?
I can only assume that he was able to reach in and put the gear selector into park or neutral or something. I tried to, but I don't think I could find the selector or get the right angle without climbing into the vehicle, because it was a mess.
Sure. Going back to you checking his carotid, which side, if he's in the vehicle, which side of his neck were you on?
I reached in, and so I reached across and lifted his head up, because he was slumped over like this.
Yes, sir.
So I lifted him up and then had my left hand checking
on his right side.
Yeah, on the right, because I reached in and I was like this. He was slumped over, so and you hear me talking like, John, come on, John, and then I reached in and I was just trying to get anything.
Sure.
Then there was nothing. Let me put this on silent. Sorry. Alright.
Okay, so again, we're back to the carotid. You're checking him, holding his head up, checking with your left hand on the right side of his neck for carotid. Do you maintain that position, or what do you do next?
I think I stay with him for a little bit. I don't know the time frame. I know that upon, like, at some point in time, like fairly quickly, I run up to the vehicle. I know I'm like, John, stop, and I get on the radio. I'm like, shots fired, one down. I need medical ASAP. And that's like within 3 seconds of that vehicle coming over. Like, it was like really, it was quick. Just, I knew. And I think I stood there for, I don't know. I mean, Goddard and I were just assessing, trying to make sense of everything, because it just, like, I don't think anyone was expecting it. I saw Newland, and while this was happening, I saw Newland and Jennison approaching the vehicle, and I said, bring him over there, stay with him, and I asked him if they were okay. And I saw Jennison's face, and he was all fucked up. So I just told Newland to stay with him, because I knew. I don't think Jennison knew yet. I don't know, but I couldn't have him over there, so I told Newland to have him. I think I said, like, stay with him, bring him to my car, and then I just had him. Are you okay? And then they just went to the back of my patrol vehicle. Goddard and I spoke, and then at some point in time, I left the vehicle and I went over to my patrol car to check on Newland and Jennison.
Was that before or after medical arrived on the scene?
Medical got there really quick, so I think it was afterwards because, medical arrived. I advised them, I think I said it's black and multiple GSWs, and they didn't even know GSW because we were on TAC, so I don't think they even knew that the kid had been shot. So they were just expecting to stab him. So I just told them it's type black. He's multiple GSW, and they're like, multiple GSW. I'm like, yeah.
Were they staged? Were they dispatched with you?
I believe medical was already en route, but they will stage until the scene is secure. And then when I got on the radio, like after the shots, I told them I need them ASAP. So, and then if there was any other traffic on that, I didn't hear it.
Right.
So, I think medical got there. They were right around the corner. They approached me from the driver's side rear. I gave them the assessment, and I think then I just backed off and went to the vehicle for Newland and Jennison.
Okay. You were attired. How were you dressed that day for patrol?
Long sleeve duty uniform, open neck with the mock turtleneck. I can't afford one of those fancy tack vests yet.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask you. Were you wearing external or internal?
Internal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a tack vest.
So internal vest. All of your equipment is on your
Belt.
Okay.
Yeah. Badge, name tape or nameplate, service stars, CIT, and then belt accessories.
Do you guys wear body cameras?
We do not. I've heard that we are in the process of checking some out. We just transitioned to watch guard. We got rid of L3, so I think that's the next phase, but they haven't made anything official yet.
The watch guard camera obviously activates with emergency equipment coming on your car.
Yeah.
Was your mic automatically activated, or did you turn it on?
Mic packs are synced to the automatic turn on.
Okay.
So it's 80 miles an hour or emergency lights, or you can manually turn it on.
Okay.
But in this event, it had been turned on the moment I flipped on my lights and siren.
So it automatically came on?
Yeah. And I had mine set so that it gives me an audible and a vibration. It beeps and zzz, so you know it's on. There's a little green light. Sometimes you never know.
Sure.
Did you carry any additional audio recording equipment? Do you carry your own digital recorder that you activated during this incident, or anything? Okay.
No. We are issued them, but we generally keep them for like interview. Like if we have to take somebody in the room, or go to someone's house.
So you'd said that you were the one that got on the radio regarding shots fired, and you said you asked for medical ASAP or something to that effect.
Yeah, ASAP. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we don't say ASAP, but I said ASAP because I
Yeah.
didn't want to. You need medical what? Right fucking now.
So you've had a chance to review your video, your info. So there's some radio traffic about somebody talking about John's history, about him running from the police, being arrested or wanting to fight the police.
That's me.
Is that you talking?
That's
at that
me
point?
telling the Sergeant Goddard of my knowledge of him. Because, we deal with these kids all the time, and some are just in a bad place and just want to talk. Others are openly defiant. Others, we've had RTRs with before, so...
Okay, and RTR is?
Response to resistance, use of force incidents and whatnot.
So you've had a couple prior contacts with John.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like what you described.
Yeah,
He
he doesn't have a huge amount of history with RDID PD, but you have eye-leads too, right?
Correct.
Yeah, he's got a decent stack of involvements, and he's been, kind of on a seemingly downward spiral lately. A lot of J8 use, drinking, these J21 threats, the the fighting.
What's J21?
I'm sorry, the suicidal threats, ideations. He just seems like the kid was in a bad spot, and parents were trying to do what they could, and
How many dealings have you specifically remember with John on calls for service?
I've had the one with him on that last day of finals where he was drunk
Domestic.
and battered, and then not long after that, evening shift. I was not involved in that call, but we went back to the house for the juvenile runaway where he took Dad. I think they had an Acura, and he took the car without permission and bolted, and kind of like similar story, just different day, different specifics, and went to one of his friends' houses, and I remember Officer Wagner went to the house to try to see it, and he found him there, and the kid jumped in the car and blasted past him, and then so midnight shift was alerted that he's a endangered juvenile runaway, and then I think they found his car up in KCK, but he was not with the car, and eventually he came home, and there's just been kind of that sequence.
And when you looked him up in alleys, was that after your DV call with him, or was it something prior to, after that? Do you remember when you looked him up in alleys for his histories?
Well, I looked him up. I ran his name. I'm sorry. What do you mean?
You said he had numerous histories in alleys, suicidal threats, J8, stuff like drugs, stuff like that. Was that after that DV call that you first saw? I want to kind of look.
That's when he first popped up on my radar.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once you remember a kid like that, because we spent about 4 hours with him and dealing with him in the hospital and whatnot, talking to the parents. So that's when he first came onto my radar, and then after that, it's kind of like anytime you hear his name or someone you hear it in hallway talk, you're like, oh, what did he do now? Oh yeah, that you start hearing the same kind of like you start hearing the same name popping up, and so you just say, and then he's on the patrol bullet, and then you just start seeing that this kid's popping up, and then once the scene was stable and I was back to my patrol vehicle, that's when I pulled him up, because Sergeant Has, who was on scene, asked me to get information for whoever needed it, so I pulled his name up and provided the information for the sergeant.
So that was one of your assignments at the scene, was to kind of get a little bit of background on the boy.
Yeah, get his personal pedigree, and
just sure
somebody needed it for something.
Right.
Or probably for medical, I think. It was for med-act.
Okay. Sure.
Did you have contact with anybody else, civilian-wise? Did you interview?
While on scene?
Did you take a statement from anybody?
I did not take the statement, but there was a woman. What was her name? Apparently, she was affiliated with the family, or her family friends. Her daughter told her about the thing, so she was coming to the house to see if she could help, talk with the it seemed like because this was viral, on the internet, and everyone kind of had been hearing about John and his stabbing himself, and that's how we became aware of it. Was that it was alerted? Somebody called us saying like this. John's stabbing himself, telling him he's going to die when the police come. He's going to kill himself. So he's broadcasting this out for whomever can see it. So that we had quite a above average response as far as well wishers and people that are just friends and that type of thing. Apparently, this woman witnessed everything. I'm not sure to what degree, but she came in on the north side of the street and was at one of the neighbors' houses, and Sergeant Goddard asked me to get her information, and then when she was ready to provide a statement, so I walked with her to her vehicle, which is parked over by England, and obviously she was shaken up, as was I, and I got her information, and then I said, that's right, she came with her daughter.
Okay.
Her daughter is John's friend, so she brought her daughter here to see if they could just help out. I asked her if the daughter was still here. She goes, "Oh no, somebody came to already take." So it was just mom now.
Okay,
So the daughter was no longer on the scene.
Do you think the daughter was there during the incident?
I do not know.
Okay, what's the daughter's name?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know
It was the daughter.
his daughter had originally been there. I don't know at what point in time she left. I don't know what she witnessed. I never.
She was with somebody else, is what you're saying.
Mom.
Right.
I believe she came with her daughter because that's how she was aware of the situation. I think her daughter was one of John's friends who may have seen this video. Things happen. Mom is freaking out. She had already made arrangements to get her daughter picked up, so then mom was the only one that I contacted. When I returned with to her vehicle, daughter was already gone. She mentioned, yeah, my daughter was here, but she's already home, and I did not pursue that any further.
Sure.
I told her, I was like, just sit in your car, take as long as you need to, and when you're ready, we'll just have you write something. And then I gave her information to one of the supervisors.
Okay.
So they could follow up.
So you just grab her name and contact information?
Yeah, name, contact number, and her
and
address.
sit down and talk to her?
I did not. No, I did not conduct an interview with anybody.
You gave her a witness statement form, though?
No,
Oh.
she wasn't even capable of. She just needed alone time in her car.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So,
And that conversation should be on my watch guard because I don't. Major Henson came by much later and deactivated everything, but
okay.
and then I was tasked with monitoring the western perimeter, so I created a scene log and just started dragging people in.
Okay.
Did you have any other responsibilities from that point? Or did somebody come and relieve you?
I stayed on perimeter for a while. Spoke with whoever was there.
Officer-wise or civilian-wise?
We had a couple civilians approaching the police tape, and we just gave them the standard. We really can't say much, but there's no more threat. Just
Sure.
all is well.
Right.
Just trying to do some,
Okay. Major, you said Hanson or Henson?
Henson with me.
Okay. You said he deactivated your watch guard?
Sure.
She? Okay.
Yeah.
Deactivated watch guard?
Yeah, and she took notes as to. I'm sure she's going to put that in her report.
Okay. I'll tell you what, if you want to give us a second, do you need a drink or anything for right now?
No, I'm saying, you want me to step out?
No. We'll step
We're
back
going
here.
to step out.
We'll step back here for a second.
Do you want a glass of water?
Because we can bring
Something to
something
drink?
back if you want.
I'm actually okay. I appreciate it.
Okay, sir. Give us a couple seconds, sir. We'll be right back, okay?
Okay, thanks.
I'm just going to close this for your privacy, Adam.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Doing all right? You need anything?
I swear.
Alright. We did pretty good. We're just going to follow up on a couple of things and then we'll
Yeah, sure.
get you on your way. So let's talk about, you arrived at the scene. Where was your weapon or what did you do regarding any weapons at all?
Sidearm was holstered.
Okay.
You motion to your left. Are you left-handed?
I'm a lefty, yeah.
Okay. You know what? We didn't, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, on my left.
And do you have any additional weapons on your holster, or not your holster, on your belt that you carry?
I carry a blade, a knife, a folding knife in my pocket, clip,
Okay.
and we have our tasers.
Okay, so you're issued a taser?
We are.
Okay.
So let's just go, let's just get what you have, what you carry on your belt. We'll just cover that.
Okay. Sidearm, a department issued Glock 22, 40 caliber.
Okay.
Weak side taser with 2 cartridges. 2 spare magazines for the 40 cal. Pepper spray on my strong side.
Okay.
And folding knife on a clip in my right front pocket.
Okay.
How about any batons, or do you guys carry?
Yes, I'm sorry, collapsible, an asp on rear strong side.
So the only additional that's not issued to you would be your knife.
Correct.
Okay.
And we have the shotgun and rifle in the rack in the vehicle.
Okay. And did those come into play at all during this event?
Not on my end, no.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else did anything, but I did not.
So your patrol vehicle is equipped with a rifle and shotgun?
It is.
Okay. And shotgun less lethal or lethal?
Lethal.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to go back, when you first came in, you were given the opportunity to review your in-car video.
Yeah.
Obviously the situation and everything is so dynamic and happening fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get that tunnel vision and not remember certain details.
Okay.
I want to go back through, was there portions of that video that you got to see that you didn't specifically recall until seeing the video? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
It does, yeah, of course. From point of dispatch, you know, from my initial put me on the call to their pretty your standard emergency response. What I wasn't sure of, as I previously mentioned, was the positioning of I didn't know where Goddard was, if he was already on. I wasn't sure, and then I don't remember seeing Officer Newland there. I knew he was, per just radio chatter and from looking at there, I knew he was somewhere. I just didn't see him. So when I first pulled up there, since I remembered where his house was on that right-hand side and my positioning of my vehicle, my sole focus at that point in time was I saw Jennison, and he's considerably a larger stature than Newland, so I knew it was Jennison in the driveway, and then that's when everything just happened. So the video showed, I believe Newland was coming from the street. He was more central to the street, but not at the house yet, and then the white supervisor car flew in right after that second series of shots, I think it was. I give or take a few microseconds.
Sure.
And then he was there, so I didn't even see the supervisor car pull up, and I was like, oh, what's that doing here? But I remembered Goddard just appearing at the window opposite of me.
Okay. Yeah. So. I'm not trying to throw any trick back. I
know.
Did you know where John was based off of your arrival initially? Do you remember seeing him? I mean, you mentioned tunnel vision. You mentioned seeing Jennison, and earlier you said
our reports were that he was in the basement. I believe he was in the lower level of the house, streaming this, stabbing himself in the. That's what we received. So when I arrived, as soon as I pulled up and I saw Jennison in the driveway, and then it looked like he was assuming a defensive posture, such as this.
And you did a two-hand shooting grip. Was that? Would you call that's how it was?
the best of my recollection. I mean, I was a decent distance away from him that I couldn't tell you the but it appeared that it's what I would have used if I was to assume a shooting position.
Sure.
So my immediate thought was like, oh shit, it's John in the garage. And since we knew he was armed with a knife, like, if there had been radio chatter about him in the car, I missed it. But clearly, there was something going on in that garage, so I didn't know if John was standing out of my line of sight with the knife, threatening or yelling or something. I had no way of knowing, and then all of a sudden the van pulls out. The van comes out and it's on.
Okay.
So I didn't know where John was. We believed that he was the only one in the house, but we knew he was armed with the knife. We knew that he had already inflicted wounds to himself. The call notes were there's lots of blood per the video that he was broadcasting.
Right.
So yeah, when I first arrived, I keyed in immediately on Jemison in the driveway. Thought maybe John was standing in the driveway doing something, and I couldn't tell if it was a weapon or his sidearm or the taser at that point in time. I had no idea until I heard the shots, and then you hear me go, what the fuck, and then the van comes out. I think it was maybe 3 shots, and then Jemison gets out of the way. The van then pulls a spin-around maneuver. So at that point in time, I still knew that the driver had control of the vehicle to one degree or another, clearly, because he was able to put it from reverse and spin around and put it into drive and then start going away. At that point in time, whatever shots were fired may not have had any impact. And then when I heard that second series shot, I jumped out of the way because I don't know if John was shooting back or so I just leapt to my left because to me that was the safest option.
Sure.
I didn't know. And at that point I'm just yelling. I'm yelling, and then I think I was close enough to get a snapshot of the vehicle, and that's when I saw, and that's why I approached.
And you say snapshot of the vehicle. Do you remember him being John? Do you remember his body position as the vehicle was going by you?
Yeah, it was at that point in time. It didn't appear like it was accelerating anymore, but it was still moving. And I saw him in a more like a slumped position to the left.
Yes, it was passing in front of you initially.
Yeah, as it was coming towards me, I had obviously where I was when I jumped out of the way. The wheels hadn't been turned yet, so it wasn't turning. It was going straight. So I'm kind of like you're trying to process this, like, well, now something's happened. Now there's been an effect because the vehicle's it's not trying to run me down.
Right.
It's not. I don't hear the engine revving. You're just trying to assimilate all this information, and then you just get that quick. Like, right. This is what I see. I saw blood. I saw him slumped down, clearly no longer in
remember
control.
Like pictures instead of a fluid video.
Yeah, and then until I approach and I'm actually able to. And I know I'm just vocalizing some radio commands. Stay with me, and then I see them approaching from the side. I tell them to go there, and then I know I say,
see who's them that you're talking about?
Newland and Jemison coming up from the rear, and that's when I say something like, I ask them, are you okay? And I see Jemison's face, and I see Newland, and they're like, oh shit, and I tell them to go wait by my car. And then I can't remember at what point, if I gloved up already, I don't know. It's kind of like automated. Yeah. At some point in time, it's just
I just was wanting, because sometimes you remember things, and then you have something that helps you refresh your memories too. And I know we had talked about it earlier. I just want to make sure we were clear.
Yeah.
In your words, not.
Yeah, my initial approach, I did not have line of sight into the garage, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if there was a vehicle. I didn't know if he was in the vehicle. I didn't know if he was standing there with anything or stark naked. I had no idea what he was, other than my primary officers there in a stance, so clearly something is not right. And that's when the vehicle came out towards him, and I couldn't tell, was it making a beeline for him? It was just, I didn't have that vantage point. I didn't have that angle but clearly Jemison felt he was in harm's way and acted.
And so we covered that. What was your line of sight being obstructed by? Into the garage, just the architecture of the garage. Okay.
You know, just the line,
angle you were at.
the angles. I could see. I was looking to the east, so my vantage point. Like here's the front of the house, right here. So anything that was happening, like if this is the garage as it opens, I couldn't see through the wall. I just saw Jennison out here, and then I could only see anything that came out of the driveway, and that happened to be the vehicle. Or rather, out of the garage.
I just want to make sure I cover that your view, because of the angle, wasn't because of anything else that was causing.
No, I look, and like you see my video, it has like perfect vantage point, and you know, no, I just couldn't see inside the garage due to me almost being lateral to the house, like my line of sight. I didn't have an off angle. If I'd come up, if I'd been viewing the house, I would have seen possibly the vehicle. But since I was on the side, that's what, you know, I only saw Jennison, or I saw the garage door was open, and there he was.
Right.
So.
Okay. I think we.
I always ask this question. Anything else that you think is important for us to know that we haven't asked you?
If it could have gone down any other way, that would have been a good thing, I guess. Can't roll back the clock. Yeah.
Well, you know, Adam, a lot of times when you leave the interview or whatever, you get home, you get thinking about things, and if something comes to mind where you forgot to tell us something or something else came up, reach out to us. We can set up a secondary interview. Whatever. If there's something else that's really on your mind that you got to get out, that's important to this case, or you're now recalling something.
A couple of sleep cycles, so.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, reach back out and we'll set up a secondary interview if need be.
Okay.
Just because you're leaving today doesn't mean you can't reach back out to us.
Yeah.
And you've got my card. You've got his card. I believe you gave him.
I'll give you my card. You've got my cell phone number, though.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have your card from last night.
Yes, sure. Yes,
when you checked in with me.
Yes, absolutely. So.
Yeah, no, like you said, I maintained a pretty good recollection, just certain things, like other people's positions, you know, it's like you can't testify to what somebody else saw, so it's like, well, I just remember here's all of a sudden, poof, here's Goddard, there's Newland with Jennison, you know, whatever he perceived, that's what he perceived. Whatever angle I perceived, that's what I saw unfolding, and, you know.
Yeah, because that's true. All we want is just what you saw, you know, just get your statements. So that's why you're here. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Do you need anything before you leave?
No, I think we're good. I mean, my phone's on. I think they're having me go back to work tomorrow, so you know, I'll be in at 2:30. If you need me for anything other than that, just give me a call. You know, clearly.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate everything.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Get some rest, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
You mind just hanging out in the lobby for a second?
Not at all.
There's somebody here that's like to talk to you.
Sure.